Welcome to Total Retail Talks, your podcast channel for retail knowledge.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Total Retail Talks. I am Joe Keenan, the editor-in-chief of Total Retail. I'm excited to be joined on this episode by Ciarán Long, who is the CEO of a.k.a. Brands. We're here at the ICR conference in Orlando, and Ciarán is graciously taking some time out of his schedule to talk with us and tell us all about a.k.a. Brands. So thanks for joining me, Ciarán.
Thanks, Joe. I really appreciate being here.
So to get us started, I would love for you to give a little bit of an overview of the a.k.a. Brands business for those in our audience that might not yet be familiar with.
Sure. Thanks for having me. Yeah, a.k.a. Brands is a collection of teen fashion brands focused on Gen Z and millennium consumers. We've two women's brands, Princess Polly, Petal Pup, and two men's brands, Culture Kings and MNML. And for us, we are predominantly direct-to-consumer, although in two brands now, we do have stores. We very much focus from a merchandising perspective on trend fashion and an accessible price point, and our brands lean into sustainability as well. And for us, we do a lot of that by focusing on a test and repeat merchandising model. And that's really a key aspect of what we do. Is across our brands, we launch new products every day. We see how they do. If they're doing well, we buy back into them. If they're doing not, we let them run out.
Tell us a little bit about your core customer, your kind of target demo, as well as a little bit about the distribution channels in which you're selling your products.
Our core customer is that Gen Z, millennial consumer, slightly upper income. Three of our brands started in Australia. We are now bringing those brands into the US. The US is about 60% of our business today and growing. Australia, about 40% of the business. Predominantly, we're direct-to-consumer, although we do have stores. We've got 10 stores at Culture Kings. We opened our Las Vegas store for Culture Kings November 2022. I'm just seeing a lot of success there. We opened a store for Princess Polly in LA in September 23 and seeing a lot of success there, and continuing now to open up new channels for each of the brands in the US.
Just one quick follow-up on your answer there. In terms of, you mentioned the brands were started in Australia. How old is the company? Kind of give an idea of context.
Each of the brands is about 10 years old. We came in with our private equity sponsor, Summit Partners, about 6 years ago and started bringing these brands together. And really on the premise that, direct-to-consumer was changing, and really there was nearly a second evolution of direct-to-consumer with what Shopify could do for brands. And so all of our brands sit on the Shopify platform and that ecosystem of software that they have. And we bring the brands together. For us at the a.k.a. level, we really focus on the business of fashion, and we let the brands focus on the product, the brand marketing, and going after their core consumer. And really at this stage, just looking to build a portfolio and really help these brands be successful in the US market.
I'd love to know kind of a little bit about your involvement, how you got started with the business. Tell us a little bit about your professional background, and then how you got involved with a.k.a. Brands.
So I joined a.k.a. Brands back in April 2021 as the CFO. Prior to that, I had spent over 7 years at Walmart in various different roles across Walmart's e-commerce business. I had Walmart's direct-to-consumer brands reporting to me from a finance perspective for a while, and also was part of the Sam's Club business from an e-commerce and a club perspective. And before that, started my career in finance and accounting, and have been over here in the US with about 25 years.
So as we begin kind of the first full week of the new year, there's a lot of talk here at the event around how retailers, in terms of coming off of a highly promotional, markdown-driven holiday shopping season, what that means for inventory levels. Can you tell us a little bit about where you stand at a.k.a. Brands in terms of inventory positioning?
Yeah, I think, look, with us being on a test and repeat model, our brands are usually buying about 90 days out from an inventory perspective. So with that, it allows our brands to be really on trend, at all times, really, bring great product to the consumer, and they can react really quickly to changes in demand, either chasing into more inventory or just tailing down buys a little bit to adjust those. So, I would say in general, we feel really good about the inventory going into 2024. I think, we have done a lot of efforts across the brands to bring down inventory levels last year. I think we're in really good shape now, and, I think looking forward to a good 2024.
And with that in mind, looking forward to a good 2024, what are you seeing? What are you hearing from your consumers of a.k.a. brands? Also kind of just the industry at large, kind of the macro trends. What are you expecting from consumers here as we, particularly the first quarter of the year? There's a lot of talk where with, limited budgets that we kind of, some people overspent, and then there's always kind of that reckoning when it comes in Q1 where bills come due, and then that might affect consumer spending, particularly in categories such as apparel. Tell us a little bit about what you're hearing and seeing.
I feel that there continues to be headwinds for the U.S. consumer. We are expecting those to continue into next year. I think that's how we're planning the business, that we will continue to have these external headwinds. I think we're fortunate with the progress we've made on inventory, opening up new channels for these brands, that we also have new opportunities to build a business, and we don't have as much internal headwind this year. So I think with that, gives us confidence as we head into the new year, that we can really execute against the plans that we have, continue to bring great product to our consumers, and continue our initiatives around being more of an omni-channel retailer.
To that last point of being more of an omni-channel retailer, and you talked about kind of the growth that you've seen here in the U.S. market. Tell us a little bit about the plan to continue to grow market share, particularly physical retail here in the U.S., and how that factors into your 2024 strategy.
Yeah, with these brands over the last 10 years have done a fantastic job of building really authentic relationships with their customers, and doing that through online channels, performance marketing, but also a really heavy push into influencer marketing, and micro-influencer marketing is where they've really been successful. Over the last 12 months, we've done a lot of tests into different omni-channel opportunities. We've opened a store last September, like I said, for Princess Polly in the LA area in Century City. We're going to do 3 to 5 stores for Princess Polly next year. We've also done a lot on the wholesale area in marketplace tests this year across the other brands, and we'll look to expand into those as we go through 2024. We've seen really good success in those marketplace opportunities. For example, Petal Pup, we're seeing 96% of new customers for what they've sold on Target and Macy's marketplace.
Yeah, that's great. Tell us a little bit about, as you think about your store expansion and geographic regions, are there specific areas of the country that make more sense that you've targeted first, and kind of then growing that as you look to grow the audience? Are there, like I said, certain specific markets that are being tested first?
We started on the West Coast, that's where our fulfillment center is, that's where some of our people are. It just made proximity for where we are, just ease there. I think, we have talked about, we will open a store for Princess Polly in the San Diego area next year. Again, just proximity would work there. Probably in the Arizona, Phoenix area as well. We're also looking at the Northeast, and we have a lot of data on our customers. We see where we have particular strength with our customer group, and where we aren't as penetrated as we should be. So I think the Boston area, New York, are all opportunities that we're also looking at for 24.
And then how does that kind of merge with the the e-commerce business as well? Sort of that thinking about that holistic omnichannel experience. Are there certain services or ways that you're kind of setting up your infrastructure to allow for that omnichannel behavior and best serve the customer no matter how they're shopping?
We're really leaning into that relationship we have with our existing customers, and using our stores as places where we can do marketing activations and just really bring to life what these brands mean for these consumers. Culture Kings in particular has done a really great job of that. Culture Kings, is in the streetwear space. They go across music, sports, fashion. Our store in Las Vegas has a particular marketing activation area. We've got a half basketball court inside in that area. When the Formula One Grand Prix was happening, we brought in a McLaren Formula One car. We did a collaboration on apparel product with McLaren. and had a great event in the store with Lando Norris, where a lot of our consumers and his fans could come in there, experience the product, the store, and we'll continue to lean into those marketing activations. And I think that's a great way for us to, not just bring people into the store, but is really integrated into the core of what we're doing online and amplifying that marketing activity through our online channels to just really show what we can do, how different we are from a brand perspective, and how different we are from the product perspective.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, kind of differentiation, creating that community, and it's not just around product, right? You're differentiating through experiences as well. So again, as we begin this new year, I'm interested to get your take, Ciarán, on the emerging trend or opportunity that you're really focused in on at a.k.a. Brands that you believe you're best positioned to capitalize on in 2024.
I think it really is just the core of the business that we have, right? Bringing on-trend fashion to our consumers, and leveraging that test and repeat model that we have with a mix of online and experiential store marketing. That's really just a key difference of where we are. I think, it's great. We're a predominantly direct consumer business that is profitable. We continue to generate cash. We really control our own destiny and can really lean into the opportunities that are out there to continue to grow our brand, continue to grow our brand awareness, and ultimately just bring these brands to more consumers in the U.S.
Yeah, I was going to mention that brand awareness piece. Is that something that you think about as you're building out your marketing strategy and investments there? How do you kind of go about attacking getting that brand awareness level higher?
We do think about it. I think, these brands are really young. They're early in their U.S. expansion. We feel there's huge opportunity and years of opportunity. And so really looking to build that brand awareness through amplifying that in-store marketing or experiential aspects of the retailing that we're doing, but also just continuing to build on the community of consumers that we have at each of these brands through the various online channels or different marketing events that we're doing.
And I neglected to mention this when I introduced you, your correct title, interim CEO.
That's correct, yeah. At the moment, I am interim CEO and CFO. I joined the business as the CFO and took the interim role last March.
So thinking about that, as there's probably pluses and minuses to everything, right? Talk about some of the challenges that may come along with being an interim CEO, but also some of the opportunities as you think about growing the business, growing the kind of instilling that culture. How do you think about that?
I'm very fortunate in the role that I have and the dual role that I have. I think I work with a great team. We've got 4 great brands and really at this point, continuing on the strategy that we have in place, the business model that we have in place, and just bringing our brands to more and more consumers. I think we've certainly, we've all been in a challenging retail environment over the last 18 months, 2 years plus. I think, we are really focused on what we can control, improving our model, improving our business, and just getting these brands in front of more and more consumers.
Great. Well, some exciting things to look forward to from a.k.a. Brands. I want to take the opportunity to thank Ciarán Long, who is the interim CEO and Chief Financial Officer at a.k.a. Brands. Thank you, Ciarán.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at mytotalretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Total Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Total Retail Talks.